Hi, everybody. How you doing? Oh boy, uh, fall is here. It's in the 40s this morning in Fahrenheit, and it'll get warmed up again later today. But the thing of it is that I gotta have to put on a heavy jacket. Um, Javi, how you doing, man? There's uh, how's your the watch you won? How's that working out? Oh, by the way, too, is the sound all right? I got my little mic here. Maybe I better slip it up here a little more. There we go. Um, Hi, Chrono Unique. How you doing? Sound all right, guys? And the video? Good. The sound's good. Thank you. Hey, Clyde, how you doing, man? Good. I was actually a little prepared, a little better prepared this morning, and oftentimes I'm fumbling around with 10 different things and come here on a little late, mic not set up. Today is going to get all ready. Hey, Alexander, how you doing? Welcome from Hong Kong. This is, by the way, too, the reason we have this early morning in the U.S. Time is so we can get our friends from Asia can join us as well. And Alexander, I'm glad you did. Hey, Big Sal and Patrick, how you guys doing? John, how are you? Ah, boy, um, There's there seems to be every time I turn around, something new is going on. Hi, Watch Monkey. And before I get started, there, I want to just sort of got anything you want to bring up now? Then I want to talk about some specific things. Anything that say, what about this, or what do you think about that? Anything like that you got, or you want to sort of ask everybody, what do you think about this or that? Uh, I guess not. Either you're thinking and typing, one of the two. The the whole Watts thing has really been well. Hi, Hong. How are you? Um, we've had. I mean, the whole business of watch them is just sort of crazy. Dad, can I borrow the watch? Hey, borrower, how you doing? Just picked up a Seagull 1963. Those Seagull 1963s are like they're sort of affordable classics. I'll call them that. Uh, there's something about them. They're just sort of very cool, and they have a history. They have an interesting story, and I guess it wasn't the Seiko 5. Didn't that come out in maybe it was 67 that one came out in? But it's the same kind of watch. It doesn't cost you a fortune. You got a watch with a good story. I think it's great. Hi, Tony. I have the feeling the watch bubble will start to deflate soon. Do you agree? Uh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's here is why I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I hope it's soon, but I found out that hope and reality often aren't the same thing. Here's why I think it may be a while, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The watch watches just got backed up. I mean, and there weren't any, and so suddenly, all of the used watches got started getting snatched up, and they're they're bringing in some really higher prices than they normally would. Hi, Andrew. I recently sold this Vestron Constantin. I liked it, but I found out I was never wearing it. And so I thought, well, I'll sell it. And I ended up with about twice of what I paid for it. And this is on Sotheby's. But anyway, it's something that I think is important to recognize is that if you got some watches you want to sell, now's the time to get rid of them. I think. But if you've been, man, I tell you, I just don't know. Speaking of bubbles, my chronomet surveying, the last I looked was 70,000. That's crazy. That's insane. I couldn't afford that. And so the best I can do is to just sort of, you know, if something good comes along that I'd like, yeah, that's one thing to grab it. But I don't know if the bubble's going to burst or not. One area that I think may or may not be, and don't even think I'm saying this out of prediction because I'm not. It's out of hope. Is that the some of the nicest watches, and I had a video about this the other day, are like uh, Roger Dubuis, uh, Daniel Roth, uh, and some of these Van Cleef and Arpels. Man, those watches were not only were they plentiful and cheap, uh, they're excellent watches. I mean, you get here, you have some by the top watchmakers, and with Roger Dubuis, even some of the old easy divers like I've got um, had a Geneva seal, and they're great watches, gold rotors, things like that, and they were very reasonable. Not anymore. And so, talking about a bubble, it's not just with, Rolex always is going into a bubble, it seems. I don't know what's going to happen with Patek Philippe. Um, I sort of got to the point where I've always liked Patek Philippe, and it's sort of like one of those things I can't help liking. But ever since I found out that they put in silicon balance springs and some other things like that, they did that a few years ago. I've just been, you know, I totally lost interest. It's sort of like, I don't know, not what I want. But that's me. That's only me, and I have nothing against people who still like the Patek Philippe's. That's everybody. There are all kinds of things that people like. So anyway, as for the uh, Evergrande crisis and the PRC, the CCP will stop in to prevent a meltdown. Okay. Yeah, plans to acquire AP Quantime perpetual calendar, but the prices skyrocketed recently. Yeah, these things are happening. Only have three looking for Laurent Ferrier Gallet. Laurent Ferrier, I like his stuff. I like the looks of it. I mean, there's a certain smoothness to them. The only thing I didn't like about Laurent Ferrier is when I tried them on, they seemed awfully light, and I was told, well, those are the steel models, and the ones out of platinum and gold are heftier, and of course, they're through the moon expensive. Um, Even the best Parmigiani references have disappeared. Yeah, this guy that he's actually one of our guys. He's on Watch Art Sci. He he said, "Boy, I like your." I had on my blue Parmigiani Colpa, and he said, "Boy, I like that." And so um, I found one exactly like it, except instead of steel, it had a gator strap, a Parmigiani strap, which probably was Hermes, but I'm not positive. And so I thought, here it is. I didn't even say, "Oh, go buy it. It's a great deal." I just said, "Here it is." Next thing I know, I got an email this morning. "Hey, I bought the watch." I thought, oh. One thing is sort of interesting. He got it through eBay, and if you get something, and then it was going to an authenticator, and I thought, thank God, because you know, um, if you try to send a watch with a gator strap through custom, boom, they're going to stop it unless it has a CITES document with it of some sort. So I'm glad it's going to the authenticator. I had one that went to an authenticator that I got. It was Daniel a Daniel Roth, and I don't know if even the authenticator had any idea what he had, but it went through there. And apparently, the guy didn't have any. He sold it without box and papers. I have some other ones like that. It's not a problem with me. But when it went through the eBay authenticator, they came back with this really great watch box and packaged really nice. And so now I have a little watch box for it. And it also came with a card that was sort of like, this is the authenticator found this to be, the real stuff, which is a nice thing to have. But one of those things, but the one I got, I can't afford now. I mean, this is only a few months ago. And there's two reasons I can't afford it. One, they're not available, and two, the price has gone up. I got it through an auction because the price had already gone up, and I was hoping, man, someone wants to blow their money on something else, and this might pick it up under the radar. And it turned out that I did pretty much, but still, I don't like buying on the auction because you have to pay a 25% nut on top of whatever the hammer price is. So, that's something. Okay, what's going on? Hi, Koji. How you doing? Um, Hi, Watch and Pray. Uh, Thanks, Watch and Pray. It's such a seller's market that if anything catches any sort of attention, it's gone. That's so true. It really is. Is that the only you got to find a stealth watch. Uh, Hi, Eamon. How you doing, man? Would you buy a watch with obvious skipped interior angles? I'm not sure what you mean by that. A skipped interior angle. I if there's something weird with a watch, I probably wouldn't. But I don't know exactly what you mean by skipped interior angles, unless something on the anglage. You mean was something happened on that? I'm not sure what you mean, Eamon. Sounds like an interesting question, though. Well, listen, we got a bunch of people here. Let's get started. Let me tell you where this came from. Um, I've been dealing with the same guy at the Mercedes dealer for it's been about 15 years, and every so often my wife and I'll go get a car from the guy. So he likes us a lot. And so after we retired, right at the time of retirement, I said, "Well, let's get a couple nice cars that we can have, and that'll be we'll just have well starting I don't know maybe a year or so ago. Oh, we get all of these things from Mercedes. Hey, would you like to trade in your car for a new one?" And the answer has been no. We got some. They work just fine. We like them, and we don't want to trade them in, and we don't feel that we need a new one. So anyway, the other day I was sitting here and my phone rings, and it's usually you get some generic guy, but this was a guy that I knew who had bought. I think I'd bought like four cars from the guy, and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" He said, "I'm not calling to sell you a car." I said, "Yeah, from what I've heard, you don't have." He said, "We've got none. They've got absolutely zero cars that they could sell." And so it turned out he wanted to know about a watch. He was asking about and I'll say this wrong, a Frank Mueller Long Island. Well, I have a friend who has a Frank Mueller Long Island with these colorful numbers, and it's a really cool looking watch. And so I don't know. I think they're sort of iffy on some of the movements, but that's neither here nor there. If you've got a Frank Mueller or know something about him, let me know. You can put something in. Or they might just have a really good ETA in there, and they work just fine. Um, but it's the kind of watch that is it's sort of an interesting watch. I'll put it that way. The Long Island in particular, which is uh, uh, rectangular shape. It's not to know. It's definitely rectangular shape. And they're kind of cool watches. Um, yeah, John, that's the other thing. Microchips. Um, the So anyway, I'm looking up the stuff, and I realized I thought, well, maybe this is part of the problem with the price of watches. Is that the same thing happened? Here's this guy. He calls and he says, "I couldn't sell you a car if I wanted to." And I don't know a car dealer anywhere who doesn't want to sell you a car anytime. But he said, "Dude, we just don't have them." And something else, the Gronfeld brothers, they don't even have a waiting list anymore because so many people wanted one of their watches. So, I'm thinking, so I start looking around on the used market, and there's certain ones that I've always sort of depended on being really good watches at decent prices, and they're drying up like mad. And so I think that the rancher pointed out, man, you just they're they're hard to find. There's a place that every now and then will have something really good, and it's called the Real Real. One day I tried to negotiate with some guy on the Real Real, and the people at Real Real said, "No, they don't negotiate, but we'll try." The other one is, what's it called? There's another place that it's sort of like, I don't know, something like eBay, but it's not eBay. It's something else, and you got a lot of people with their little businesses and they're running it through this thing. I can't remember the name of it, but every now and then they'll come up with a watch that just is really great. And so I've been paying more attention to some of these places than I had before. And so this is something that I think, and this was answering the question: do you think the bubble's going to burst pretty soon? And the answer is I don't know, and I don't see it happening until this whole backlog gets caught up. I've also noticed that a lot of companies are coming out with new watches that I don't know. They may have been planned back in 2019 for all I know, and there are sooner. For example, the overseas, the Vacheron Constantin overseas Everest, and I like the looks. It's I just like the looks of it, and I like overseas anyway. But that one is sold out. I thought, well, I'll go check it out. It's gone. They're all sold out. There were some other ones I was looking at too. These are brand new watches on the vendor on the manufacturer's site, and they're all gone. So, I don't know. Um, let's see. They're using a term currency now and trade and sell. Tim, maybe it was you. Somebody said the best investment you could have made over the past few years is a watch. And from boy, what I've seen, God, I tell you, I wish I had bought about a dozen of these and another dozen blue ones, because these things have just shot up through the roof. There's, I don't know why exactly, except there's one thing about the pandemic, people sitting on their watch money and wanting something. There's one guy that he may be here this afternoon in the afternoon group, Mark. And Mark he had ordered a watch through FP Journe maybe a year ago, right around, maybe not quite a year, but anyway, he had a good price. It was in, I forgot what it was, 20, 30 something thousand, something like that. It wasn't cheap. They never are. But man, now today, and what I'm wondering is that when the AD that he's getting it from, once he gets it, whether he's saying, well, I think there's a premium on these things, and tags on another $40,000. I have no idea. Hope he gets it though, for what he wants to. Bubble for watches is not going to burst. Asian hemisphere now is in the game. Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people are in the game, and I think the other areas of watches I think that are that somehow get ignored a lot, even though people like them, are the German watches. The Swiss business right now, I don't think they can make enough to meet all the demands they have. Um, Certain watch companies in Asia certainly seem to be doing a pretty good business too. Your independents like Ahsoka, those guys, they can't keep up with the demands. And they've had to put out all these little ones so that they can at least, their fans can get something. I think the bubble bursts soon. Whatever causes it will be such a major event that our watch values will be the last thing that we'll be thinking about. Could go the other way too. Could be some other problems could come up, and suddenly the prices get even worse. I mean it's like the there are different kinds of bubbles. There's sort of an artificial bubble, I'll say, is that this is generated by the company with the watches and they want to make them rare and they do this and they do that. And so the price starts going up. And at some point, somebody in the same business or the same company says, hey, let's add some more because we're making so much money off of these. And they go a little too far. They get a little too greedy, and suddenly, boom! That's a sort of bursting an artificial bubble. What we got now is I don't know if it's a bubble or just like a sort of a near crisis in terms of the pipeline. You have two kinds of things in the pipeline: parts and labor. There are a lot of people who are well, some of them didn't quite make it, not that many, but I mean, enough. And other people have decided that they don't want to go back to doing what they used to be doing when it involves leaving the house, which is sort of weird. But you know, there's been a very difficult labor shortage. Okay, hey Alexander, hey Glade Breeze, how are you? Bose, how are you? Uh, thanks, Bose. Seagull are nice. Have not yet seen in person. You know, I have that I know of. I may have some more that I made, but I have one true blue Seagull watch that I know for sure. And this is when I got a perpetual um, regulator. There's a company in Hong Kong called Perpetual, and they have a I forgot what it is. It's a Seagull but it was purpose designed for a regulator. And so you've got these, you got your hour, minutes, and seconds, or I don't know how they have it. It could be the other way around. But you got these three shafts coming out vertically rather than one in the double one in the middle and then one at 6 or 9 o'clock. So that thing has been working great. I mean, I haven't broken it yet, and it's sort of it's fun to have a regulator, but sometimes you want to watch, say, what would I ever do with that? And the answer is, yeah, not probably not very much. It's sort of to me, it's like a chronograph. Uh, I've never used a chronograph. I rarely have need for one, or if I did, I'm thinking, I'm going to the dog track or something like that. I need a chronograph, and so I can, or going to the horse races and sort of watch up there with the rail birds with time and with your chronograph. I'm just not a chronograph person. I know a lot of people really like them, and that's cool. But I don't know. Uh, the whole world has gone very strange. Yeah, that's true. Remember, Watch Monkey, don't write in all caps. People think you're screaming, ha ha, even though you may want to. Um, okay, great for boiling eggs. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to think of anything new happening, any new watches. Oh, yeah. We talked about this. I had a little video on the new Parmigiani. And this, you can still find some, and I think the ones that are not that popular are because people don't like horn lugs. And even though horn lugs make for an incredibly comfortable, with a horn lug, the horns just sort of go around like that. I but some people say, "Oh, what's a big old thing? I don't want that thing on their wrist." And I don't know. Uh, I know in Hong Kong, wealth managers are touting watches as an asset class for investment to their ultra rich clients. That would be all of us, right? We're all the ultra rich clients. Do they have something for their ultra poor clients? Or how about this? I think there's another class. Those of us who are ultra irresponsible and watch by. Uh, Hi, boy. Let's see. Dahamaje. I hope I said that right. How you doing? How to afford a collection? Just I tell you what, 99% of it's luck. And the other part is paying attention to the horology and not the popularity of a watch. Then you end up with some nice watches. That's how you find, I think this is how you find some really great ones. There's this guy, I forgot his name. He's this young French watchmaker who won an award. He made a watch that you wind up with a key. His stuff is just fabulous. And so he decides 30,000 bucks for sort of almost like the very cheapest one he has, and you'd have to wait in line for a few years to get one. Yeah, those kinds of things. You know, one of the companies I think that came out with something that was really along the right lines was Ophion, the Spanish company, and they had just they put together this great little watch, but they were smart. They didn't make too many in the sense that for their own, they wanted to sell them, and so they're not stuck with a bunch of inventory on their shelves that they sort of sold out. But there's a that reminds me of another kind of thing that happened in the it happened in a lot of industries, and the Japanese called it just in time. And this had to do with manufacturing something so you had just the right amount, and it came, I mean, so sort of went almost like right from the manufacturer into shipment rather than sitting in a warehouse for any amount of time. And I wonder if they could do that with watches, sort of have something that, but of course, the predictability of a watch's success is crazy. Um, doesn't follow the herd. Yeah, I know. And what I do, I'll get it in the movie line just because it's the longest line. Years ago, I was in England, and I thought, well, I went down to Piccadilly Circus for a looking for a movie. I thought I'm going to go see what the English like. I'm going to show a little class. So I got in line. There was a huge line for this movie, so I got in line for it. It was Kelly's Heroes. I thought, well, I guess we like the same stuff. Um, just picked up a 1970s Oris Cronus hand wound chronograph. That sounds pretty nice. Here's something, and this is just me, not everybody. But some of the best buys are vintage watches, and especially if you know the movements. If you know what movement is, it's got a movement in it. You got to understand. I'm sure that Monkey knows this. Is that an ETA in a vintage is not the same ETA once bought by Swatch. Now, I'm not saying that Swatch wrecked ETA, but rather I'm saying is that sort of they were viewed differently, just like a Valjoux. Valjoux, gee, they were considered to be the top watch movement around, and so but then they were bought by ETA along with Peizu and a lot of the other ones. So I think that, and since I'm not into vintage, I sort of lose out on that. But that would certainly be something I think worth looking into. Hey, Hater, how you doing? Um, Mr. Valju, I'm sure Grand Seiko can do just in time. Yeah, Grand Seiko probably could. Grand Seiko, they got all of Seikos, and they got the manufacturing down right down to the nanosecond. Uh, Kelly's Heroes show that we won the war because of our tank gun barrels were small enough to be used in urban fighting. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, it's frying pan time, as they say. But I just thought this is something we could kick around today about, well, where it is. It is related to what they're calling the bubble. We're still not out of it yet. Uh, I went to the store the other day, and here in Connecticut, the rate is like 2.1%. We're almost, I mean, we're very near to, we're done. But it's still around. I mean, there's some places that you can't even, if you have a baby, you better leave the state because all of the hospitals are filled up with COVID. And so here, what they're doing, you still got to wear those stupid masks, and I don't like them. I don't like them at all, but I wear them. And so I got one with my watch on it. I got to put something fun on it. I can get a black mask, and in white letters it says "I hate masks," but wear it. And it just, with if you have both your shots, now they're talking about booster shots for people of a certain age. So anyway, guys, listen, got to run. Everybody stay really safe. And at 4 o'clock, I mean, if there's if you're 4 o'clock New York time, if you're not doing anything, you want to drop in, feel free. Till then, take care.